goodness. So I don't really oh, my glasses are showing that reflection. Anyway, I don't really expect to have a lot of people on here today because it's kind of last minute. I was supposed to be on a little earlier, and I really don't feel like being on here now, just to be honest. But I do feel the need to try to get in the habit of posting and recording or doing the lives more regularly since I agreed to do so. Um, but today, I'm only going to kind of tell the story of my ancestors who left the property that I am currently having to fight over in probate court. Um, and I had told you all that I would come on and kind of share what happened when we went to court on Thursday, the 18th. Um, and I did share on Facebook and Instagram a few of the things that was discussed at the hearing, and in my opinion, it was leaning in as a positive in my favor, not theirs. But anyway, I ain't doing anything wrong but trying to do what I was asked to do. That's why when you're doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, or you're doing the opposite of what somebody else's wishes were, when it's their stuff that you're trying to manipulate and take ownership of, normally it doesn't turn out in your favor, especially when you have people that are a little bit wiser and a little bit more experienced than what you are, especially when it comes to legal issues and concerns. So instead of me going over everything that went on at court, I just wanted to share a piece of information that I have discovered in the process of doing the research to prepare for this hearing. And what I found was a petition, a will contest petition, which is the same thing that the judge told me that I needed to file in response to what my aunt and my little brother and everybody were trying to do with this second will that changes up everything that my grandmother's original will requested. They waited until after my father passed to even try to probate the will, which looks very suspicious. So anyway, I immediately noticed things about the differences in the wills that made me feel like my grandmother did not sign that will um, without being forced or under duress or whatever. She was pressured into signing that. And one of the things that I noticed was how she signed her signature totally different than what she normally signs her signature, or she normally would sign it. And she signed it several different ways on this will. And so to me, any judge that looks at that, they're going to say her signatures are not consistent. Was she even in her right mental state to even be doing this? And so it would be easy for us to think, okay, well, maybe she didn't realize it, or maybe no. My grandmother, even though she only had a fifth or sixth grade education, she was very smart when it came to certain matters. And that was why she even had her will done, and certain things that she had to put in place to protect her property. Because she had done experienced some things. Well, as a child, my grandmother raised me when my father went to prison. And I would always hear her making comments about certain things relating to one of her brothers that used to live in the property in the house across the way over here. Um, and I never really understood the ins and outs of what she was saying about how he and his wife took their mother in their home and was refusing to let the rest of the family see her, and was mistreating her or neglecting her and things like that. And it really hurt my grandmother because they all were close to their mom. And so I just heard the stories about it, but I never had really, I heard her speak about it, but I never heard anybody else's perspective on that. So I just thought it was like Granny venting about missing her mama and because, whatever. Um, but in the process of me preparing for this probate matter, I ran across a petition that was filed by my grandmother and her siblings, and they were challenging the actions of that one brother that took their mom. And this was really eye-opening for me because I've been doing housing justice and disability rights advocacy work for several years. While I was gone, when I moved to Nashville in 2013, I just kind of got thrown into the middle of fighting against housing discrimination and disability discrimination. And so that's kind of been my focus since I had been gone from Knoxville. But when my dad called me back in October of 2020, when his cancer was basically they had done all they could do, um, coming in trying to he's staying in my grandmother's house from the time that she passed away. He kind of just took over and was taking care of everything. And that's always been understood. He's never kept us from coming up to, celebrate the holidays, and we carry on just like if it was Granny's house. And so now that he wasn't able to walk anymore and he's dying, someone had to be willing to come and stay with him for 24 hours a day in order for him to be able to come and stay at his own home until he, passed away. So I came and did that because nobody else seemed to be able to make time to do it. So I did it. I in the middle of me cleaning up this room in here to make a place for me to sleep, I ran across a uh, a deed to some other property that had my grandmother and all of her brothers and sisters except that one uncle on it. And I never understood, like, why is that one uncle's name not on this deed? And why do we not know nothing about this? Because it's like 25 something acres over on Harris Lane, which is by our church. Now, one thing I do know my grandmother made clear is her dad and her mom and their family, they knew the importance of and the value of land. And so they had a lot of land off through these in the South Knoxville area or whatever. Um, Almost about 100 acres altogether that I have counted up since I've been doing this research. Um, the property where I stay at is supposed to be like 8.9 acres. And that's what they are fighting over in probate right now. They're wanting to try to sell it instead of keep it in the family and use it for generational wealth, build on. People are trying to do things that are greedy and selfish. And I don't know, but I can't sit here and know what I know about the legal system and allow them to do what they're doing. So I'm doing what I would do with any other case. I'm doing the investigation, I'm doing the research, I'm doing what's necessary in order to win or to protect whatever the asset is that someone else is trying to take. You got to fight back. In the process of fighting back, sometimes you have to expose some stuff. So we in exposure season right now. Hold on just a second. So the 25 acres, I noticed it never was probated either. It never had been filed with the courts to make it like an official transfer of ownership. And I didn't understand why. However, now I do. So here's this document. And I'm only sharing this because there's a lot of riffraff going on. And a lot of people are interested in wanting to know it. And I just don't have time to keep repeating this same story to everybody. And there's family members that are totally unaware of what I'm talking about today. And so this is my opportunity to kind of create something so everybody can come and look and be nosy like they're good at. But this is also to alert them that instead of y'all worrying about this right here and acting like I'm trying to do something wrong by just trying to protect it, we need to be focusing on this. And what happened for all of our people to ended up in court over property that we know we don't have access to. What happened to that property that's connected onto the back end of the property for the church? Nobody wants to know that. Oh, they're just going to worry about this 8.9 acres when there's 25.5 over here. See my granny name. See all our people name. Check out who the attorney is. If y'all can read it. Herbert. Where'd it go? Monsieur. Do y'all research on Monsieur. And then y'all can see who we talking about. But just in case y'all don't got time to do your research, I got it. I got several of them. And the reason why I pulled this one, because this was a criminal contempt that they did on him on April the 18th, which is my birthday, of 2007. Now, the reason why I'm showing y'all these things with Monsieur and these other deeds that never got probated, when you open up an estate on someone, you're supposed to bring all information relating to property that person could have possible ownership in so that it can be settled. You don't want to bring a piece of property here and yonder at a time. You want to, anything you know about, it needs to be brought and presented to the court so we can get it all settled. Well, I can't sit here and see that her name is on this thing for 25 acres, 25.5 acres, but we don't know nothing about it. So I had to go do my research. And in the process of doing the research, so I ran across this petition. So I'm going to read the petition. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of history lesson today. This is in the county court for Knox County, Tennessee. The state of Lula Dale Harris, deceased. It's dated February the 2nd, 1981. And it says, for cause of action, petitioners James Harris, Helen Harris Gillette, Ruby Harris Henry, Merle Sue Harris Burns, John Bill Harris, and John Harris Jr. aver, number one, a paper writing purporting to be the last will and testament of Lula Dale Harris was admitted to probate in this court on August the 5th, 1980. A son of the descendant, Vidge Harris, was issued letters testamentary, I guess that's how you say it, as executor of the estate of Lula Dale Harris on that date. Number two, petitioners are the remaining heirs at law and next of kin of the deceased, with the exception of the children of another deceased brother, Tom E. Harris, which children can be reached through Jerome Harris, and gives the address, in Cleveland, Ohio. The children are Agnes, Millie, Teresa, Danny, Tom E. Jr., Victor, Herbert, Hubert, and Jerome Harris. The petitioners and the children of their deceased brother would share in the estate of Lula Dale Harris, both real and personal, in the event there was no will or the will was found to be written under fraud or undue influence. Petitioners believe that the alleged last will and testament of Lula Dale Harris was written as a result of the undue influence of the executor Vidge Harris and his spouse Liza Harris. I couldn't understand why my granny hated that woman. I mean, tell you, they ran that woman off from that house. That's why they sold it. But anyway, they dead and gone. So I can just tell the truth. But I see why she was mad. And it says, Vidge Harris and his spouse, for a period of several years prior to the death of Lula Dale Harris, had a constant opportunity to exercise and did exercise a general and controlling influence over Lula Dale Harris to the extent that her free agency was controlled by the stronger will of Vidge Harris and his spouse. The petitioners would further show that Vidge Harris and his spouse directly influenced Lula Dale Harris in the making of the alleged will. Number four, by way of explanation, petitioners would say that about the time of death of their father, John Harris, their brother, Vidge Harris, went through a divorce and lost his home. As Let me show y'all a picture. This is the women of the church. This is my granny right here with the gray. She's the last standing Harris at that church. All these other women are married in. Um, this was Vidge's wife that divorced him and took and emptied his pockets, left him hurt. Aunt Eula, and she was a little feisty something too. I loved Aunt Eula. She wasn't no joke. She said, "You want to play? Hey, we're gonna play straight to the bank." And so, okay, I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked, but that's the story on that part. Vidge Harris at the time, he lost his home. He went through a divorce and lost his home. He moved into the home place with their mother until he could find a place to live. So he was homeless. Eula had all the children, all his kids. He had to go. Well, of course, they're not gonna put the kids and the wife out when you doing what you doing. So he ain't had nowhere to go. He was homeless, so he moved back home with his mama. Okay. Supposedly until he found a place to live. Vidge Harris at that time expressed a desire to take care of his mother, and he did so for a short period of time. It developed, however, that he began to neglect his mother to the point that she went without basic necessities of life and her health deteriorated. Vidge Harris would leave his mother alone for lengthy periods of time. The petitioners, one and all, attempted to assist in the care of their mother, but Vidge Harris resented and openly prevented each and every one of them from providing the care to their mother that she needed. Vidge Harris objected to the petitioners' comment about the home place and objected to their proposals of taking their mother into their own care. Vidge Harris allowed the home place to deteriorate. He spoke roughly with his mother and intimidated her. His mother would not speak freely with the petitioners in the presence of Harris. Vidge Harris's neglect of his mother resulted in her admission into to the university hospital, which admission was in fact made over Vidge Harris's objection. So she needed to go to the hospital, and he didn't even want her to go to the hospital because he was too worried about what had up his sleeve. Vidge Harris objected to the petitioners taking their mother home upon her release from the hospital. He took his mother to his home where she fell and broke her hip due to further neglect of Vidge Harris and his spouse. Vidge Harris sold the property of his mother and deceased father in order to finance his own business ventures. Exactly what my little brother's trying to do to this property. He's even listed this property as his property management uh address or whatever for his LLC property management, whatever. He just bought a house in Clarksville. Do it there. How are you saying you're trying to use this for a family place for us all to come to, but you over here using it as your own property management address without our consent? Come again. You see, you counted your eggs before you counted your chickens before they hatched, you know? Anyway, just like Vidge. Now, I'm gonna just read it through because if I keep stopping, I'll keep having to repeat myself. Y'all have to bear with me. It says, upon the death of a brother, Lewis Tilson Harris, Vidge Harris and his spouse were secretive about the assets, if any, of their brother's estate. Vidge Harris and his wife apparently led Lula Dale Harris to believe that the petitioners had a sinister plan to commit her to a retirement home. Vidge Harris enlisted the aid of the Department of Human Services at a time when the petitioners were all very anxious to have their mother and their home with them. The petitioners fear that their brother, Vidge Harris, singularly or with the help of his spouse, has systematically secreted their their mother from them, providing her with the minimal amount of care, all toward the end of promoting the appearance that Vidge and Liza Harris were the only two people in the world who cared for Lula Dale Harris. Number 6, petitioners grew skeptical of their brother when their mother would not talk to them on the telephone in their presence or say anything she felt would anger him. They were further confused by an offer made by Vidge Harris and his attorney to convey approximately 25.5 acres of land owned by Lula Dale Harris located on Harris Lane off Twin Creek Road. Petitioners had developed a distrust for Vidge Harris and his spouse over the handling of their brother, Lewis Tilson Harris's estate. They felt this offer was one made not by Lula Dale Harris, but made by Vidge Harris without authority. It now appears that this offer was made at a time simultaneous with the writing of the alleged last will and testament, which has been submitted for probate with this court. Petitioners are advised and believe that the alleged last will and testament was written as a result of the influence of Vidge Harris and his spouse to heavily favor Vidge Harris. Having lived through several years of being denied the privilege of freely visiting their mother and observing simultaneously her neglect by Vidge Harris and his wife, the petitioners say this favoritism to Vidge Harris did not come without fraud or undue influence. Number 7, petitioners would further say that it was the alleged desire of Lula Dale Harris to convey 25.5 acres of land to the petitioner simultaneous with the preparation of the alleged last will and testament, which has been submitted to probate in this court. Assuming that it can be established that this was the intent of their mother, the petitioners would ask that their interests in this regard be protected. Premises considered, petitioners pray, number 1, that they will be allowed to contest the validity of the last will and testament of the deceased on the grounds of fraud or undue influence. Number 2, that the fact of contest whether the original paper writing be certified to, no, it says, number 2, that the fact of contest together with the original paper writing be certified to the circuit court for Knox County, Tennessee, to the end that an issue be made, a issue be there made to try its validity. I'm gonna read that over because I chopped that up. Number 2, that the fact of contest together with the original paper writing be certified to the circuit court for Knox County, Tennessee, to the end that an issue be there made to try its validity. That that notice of this petition be given Vidge and Liza Harris and their attorney, Herbert Monsier, however you say it, 18th floor, United American Plaza, Knoxville, Tennessee, and to the children of Tom E. Harris, deceased, namely Agnes, Millie, Teresa, Danny, Tom E. Jr., Victor, Herbert, Hubert, and Jerome Harris, care of Jerome Harris and his address. And the most adorable thing, I apologize for chopping up that last little clause there. And see, that's the thing about these legal documents. Their wording of what they're saying, like they could have said that in a way that could have been way easier to comprehend. But this legal jargon and lingo, whatever, this legalese, whole bunch of nothing to say a whole bunch of stuff to say really a little bit of nothing. But look at the signatures of all of their names, their little handwriting. They all went up in the courtroom on this day with an attorney, David Noel from Jenkins and Jenkins, and he's still alive. And the other party was Herbert Monsier. Now, mind you, Herbert Monsier, one of the biggest attorneys in Knoxville, well, in Tennessee. And he got a son that's following him. And then here's this attorney. And all these black people, quote unquote black people, was in there represented like a motherfucker, fighting for this. And it really just, to know that the outcome of them trying to fight that, and it seemed like it would be a no-brainer. But see, this is why I say a lot of things go on in the judicial system that should not go on. And we are losing left and right because we are ignorant to the law. Um, they ended up giving my uncle that 25.5 acres, even though there's proof that at the same time that she wrote out that last will and testament, um, she wrote the deed for the 25.5 acres, and she also wrote another deed that gave Vidge approximately 25 acres that was pertaining to the property over here where we stay at. Altogether, this was like a 35-acre tract. And outside of the 8.9 acres that my grandmother has, my great grandmother left Vidge the rest of that, which was 20 something acres. So he was supposed to get this property and they were supposed to get that property. So altogether, that's 50 acres that was just between those two properties. Clearly, the same attorney prepared that document, Hubert Monsieur, and for him to come in and argue that that ain't what she wanted Vidge to have both of those properties. That was a miscarriage of justice, clearly. Now, that's I'm saying all of that to say, here's the final judgment of Cole, Judge Cole. He did now. But what they did to do this, they turned around, and after it was supposed to have been a jury trial, because it says right here, final judgment. This cause came to be heard on the 25th day of January 1983 before the Honorable T. Edward Cole, judge, holding the Second Circuit Court for Knox County, Tennessee, and a jury of good and lawful persons, to wit. It's got the names of the juries: Dennis Johnson, Dorothy Wheeler, Terry McDaniels, Charles Sellers, Ernest Softman Jr., Rebecca Ann Watts, James E. Chandler, James Stark, Deborah Johnson, John D. Myers, Leslie H. Vineyard, and Darla Beveridge. And it says, I'm not going to go through all of this, but it says, I'll read it. It says, who were duly elected and paneled and sworn according to the law to try the issue of, I don't know what that word is, and a true verdict render according to the law and evidence heard in the case. And at the conclusion of the proof of all the parties, the proponent of the will moved the court for a directed verdict in his favor. Now, a directed verdict is, don't go by what the jury has to say. Let the judge make a decision based off of the information that was presented. How do you have a jury trial and all these people there for a jury trial, and then at the last minute, they're going to say, we move for a directed verdict? Because you got Hubert Monsieur as your attorney. That's how you can do shit like it. I'm just being real. Okay. It says, after due consideration of the evidence and after considering argument of counsel, it was the opinion of the court, see, not the jury, the court, that this motion was well taken and should be granted. The jury was therefore instructed to return a verdict in favor of the proponent of the will, Vidge Harris. They gave him all of the property except this property where we at now, where I'm at. So that's why it's very, very, very personal for me, because my grandmama and them done lost enough due to people being greedy. And if ain't nobody else got sense enough to fight back for to save what we got left, I do. And then anybody getting in the way of me protecting what we got left, I'm gonna have to do whatever I gotta do within legal means, justice by any legal means necessary. That shit is very real. So my grandmother knew very well what took place, what the deal was when it came to these will contests. So that's why she on purpose signed her name wrong several ways. That's why she on purpose saved the original will so that whatever that my aunt tried to do would not fly. But see, this is why my little brother doesn't understand. With his educated, highly educated, thinking he the gift to the world self, brother. If you open up this probate matter, we're gonna have to bring out all of this to the table. Even the attorney that wrote both of the wills, he's still alive. My grandmother used to work for him. Those people are not going to put their reputations on the line because in their mind they done got away with this. But see, this gonna get ruffled right back up if they don't leave us alone. And so basically, when the judge was trying to tell him, look, you might want to just y'all need to get together and talk about this as family because it's gonna probably he told my little brother to probably be your kids left with dealing settling this. That's how long it's gonna take, and it's gonna be very expensive. In other words, you fighting a real long uphill battle that you're not gonna live to see the results of. And unless you got the money to pay out of pocket, you ain't got no grounds. So the fact that I know that my grandmother and them knew very well the procedures to take to do whatever was needed after they took the L that they took, 25.5 acres, they took a L, big old L. We ain't taking no more L's, not like that. See, it wasn't mistake that I went off and sent myself to basically taught myself law in the process of me fighting my own legal battles, but that also prepared me to be able to come back here and see what was happening. And so in the process of this, there's things coming about with the church that needs to be questioned. It's time for all of this stuff to be talked about. Our family church, brand new church sitting over there not being used. I have a whole nonprofit organization. We need to be doing some programs and activities to help the disadvantaged communities. Why we ain't? I'm bringing all this stuff up because at the end of the day, we still got property rights and ownership rights for the church, Harris Chapel Baptist Church. I got the paperwork on all it. See, I've been doing my work, my research. While they over here filing stuff in court and don't even know how to spell my granny's name. How you not gonna know how to spell your own mama name? She still ain't came and got this dang on antique sewing machine off of the front porch. That's what Granny left her. She left her that and all the wheels. Where you at though? Why you ain't came and got this wheel? But you over here trying to worry about putting me out of something that I'm a heir of. I don't gotta go nowhere. Stop playing. Plus, Daddy died, so according to the law, his portion goes to us. So the will is like, okay, the children have access, and then until if based on the first one, it don't come to us until all of her kids died. But the way it's looking, neither one of the wills gonna be presented, so we're gonna have to go as though she didn't have a will. And the way that goes, it goes equally to the kids. And when one of the kids die, it automatically goes to their children. Well, here we are, and I'm already here. So I ain't going nowhere. But y'all need to start getting nosy about some other shit besides my business. Look at her. It's an E supposed to be on there, Diane. Little blind bad back having self. Talking crazy to me in court. I'm doing my research, and then I'm turning around, and by the time we go back to court, I will be a certified alternative dispute resolution specialist, be able to mediate, and I'll keep trying to tell them, look, I told them, come and talk to me. They be acting like I'm so hard to talk to. No, I'm just going to require you to man up and woman up, tell the truth. Diane, you don't want to come talk to me because I want you to answer why you forged your name as a beneficiary of that life insurance policy on me. You can't do that. That's illegal. You go to jail for stuff like that. So while you talking all crazy, telling me it's for the kids and not me and I got to go, no, you're going to go straight to jail. Anywho, the more I'm not going to go into details as far as the current case that's going on. Just know that the judge is not going to listen. Ain't no attorney in their right mind about to represent them to try to steal this the way they doing. Not when I done presented the original. But furthermore, we're just gonna cancel it out and make it like ain't no will, because that's gonna benefit me better. See, this is chess, not checkers. Keep arguing. I ain't paying a dime. Y'all can spend all y'all money over there doing all that, but I already got it settled. Now, I just dropped a few bombs for some folks, and I'm gonna give people some time, but they're gonna have to subscribe to come and get this juice. And that's what I'm saying. All that other yeah, that ain't what we over here doing. This is real life over here. But anyway, I gotta go because my little food outside and I don't want it to be getting too cold. But this is Queen Aries. April Burns Norris. It's official now with the hyphen. Yeah, the people's advocate. I'm just trying to get justice for us, y'all, and we got to do that by any legal means necessary. So we got to just figure out what lane we're supposed to be in and get in it and stay focused and don't let up. With love, light, and life lessons learned. Peace.